Okay, how we doing, guys? Bit of a weird one this. I don't quite know what to make of this, but this morning after doing my video yesterday, which was for the recent patch update, I got to kind of thinking that maybe I should be scanning the websites, the Infinity Ward site and Activision and all the rest of it to try and find a bit more information about things, because I always seem to be the last to know. As I said, it was Pook who told me about the update that happened yesterday with the patch notes, as worthless as they were. And this happens every time, and I thought, do you know what, I'm getting to that stage now where I should be really taking responsibility for my own actions. So, I had to flick through some of the Infinity Ward site, Activision sites, just callofduty.com, and I ended up going on this bloody whole entire paper chase of God knows what, clicking on link after link after link after link, and it eventually brought me to this, and this is on one of the sites. It's either Infinity Ward or Activision, I can't remember, but it looks... I will read it out to you, but if this is the case, and I've discovered this, then this is just unbelievable, and it's just going to mean that I don't know if I can even deal with Call of Duty Ghosts on the whole, okay? Now, before I explain it all to you, I will say that once I got this and I Geyzoed or whatever you call it, I took a screenshot of it and 2 other pages. I went to put it into Vegas, I closed down one of the links and I clicked the wrong button. I ended up closing all my bloody links down. So by the time I went back to try and find this page, I couldn't find it anywhere. So if you go onto one of the sites and have a little mooch around, you'll come across this somewhere. But I tried and tried and tried, and eventually I just ran out of time because I had to go to work and all the rest of it. But let me just read this to you, okay? After long delegation, it is with great pleasure that the ever-popular Deathstreaks make a solid return to Call of Duty Ghosts, now cleverly renamed YeouschReloaded. The purpose behind the new name was to create a notion of PC, I'm assuming that means political correctness, amongst the users. As the word death, we felt, created a sense of victimization. Oh God, whatever. Now, completely balanced, these streaks being unlocked at max prestige will not only encourage the players wishing to use them go all the way, but the bar has been raised as to how many negative points are required to activate each individual streak. Also, each individual can carry only one streak depending on his or her skill level attributes. Also, taking into account the current trend that is reverse boosting, I have no idea what the hell reverse boosting is. I'm assuming from looking into this it's going to mean when you kill your friend or kill yourself, I don't know, will now be an impossibility as the new engine can detect foul play. Therefore, any noted detection will result in punishment, which we can see down the bottom there as a punishment -10, a sickle or a scythe next to it, and a ball and chain. Right, now I'm going to explain all these, what these mean, but you've got here War Streaks, which is what they say it's called. You've got Spectre, Ricochet, Confusion, Backdraft, and this punishment one. So, anyway, I hope you're ready for this, because basically what you've got to remember is we as a community, we did not want score streaks being back. A lot of us didn't. I'm pretty sure most of us didn't. However, they brought them back with some steroids attached to them. Believe you me. It's like going into a restaurant and saying, I just want the starter and I want the main course. I don't want any dessert. Only to find that after you've finished your meal, they come out with a great big 5-tier wedding cake and shove it in your face. It literally is that overpowered. But let me read it to you, okay? Spectre. A 9 negative streak that empowers the user to envelop the stealth cloak, whatever that is, I can only imagine. This gives the advantage of a ghoul, where one can move freely around the map undetected for a 40-second duration, thus giving the ability for a surprise attack where needed. And then it's got in commas, note, in Spectre mode the user is unable to attack. Now, I can only imagine that that means 2 things. Number one, well, in my mind, that means that you essentially go into theatre mode. If you imagine in theatre mode, you can move freely around the map as everything's going on and you've got all this war going on around you. That, to me, is what this means is going to happen. You can move around, nobody will see you, and then you can just literally, you're on a timer of 40 seconds to get yourself to where you want to be and plant yourself there until you respawn. I've got a real couple of major issues with that. Number one, that's just creepy. The fact that you're going to be walking around the game not knowing who the hell is walking past you. There could be a whole team of spectres all wandering around you like ghosts. And number two, for objective-based games like, I don't know, Headquarters and things like that, when you're holding down a point or a hard point, if that comes back in the next game, surely to Christ, when you've got a whole room of people who are holding one position down, how bummed out are you going to be when people just suddenly appear behind you and start knifing the whole team or just C4 everybody? I think it's going to be ridiculous. But Believe you me, that is not the worst one. So I'm going to move on to the next one very quickly because you're probably reading these past me. This one is Ricochet. A 10 negative streak that allows the user to rebound enemy gunfire back at the enemy. In commas, return to sender. Now I can only imagine that means like hardcore Ricochet, which I never really played, but I know that when you shoot somebody on your team, you get killed. But it doesn't stop there. We've got one called Confusion. Now, an 11 negative streak that, when activated by the previous enemy, shall make that person appear as an unfriendly to his or her teammates. Also note that friendly fire becomes devastating. The problem I have with that is if anybody does have an issue with it and recognise it and they are a bit street smart, hey, guess what happens? They get shot themselves again because their bullets are going to ricochet again. So that to me is just garbage. But believe you me, guys, this one is the ultimate. I have never imagined anything like this could ever be brought into Call of Duty. This one, Backdraft. The final frontier. 12 negative turns the user into a human nuke. Shoot at your own peril, as the blast radius when killed is the equivalent to a reasonable 68% of the map being played. Just don't be too close. How the fuck is 68% of the map reasonable? That is like way over half. That is nearly 3/4 of the map. So again, I'm guessing from that, if you shoot somebody, they turn into an unfriendly to yourself and end up moabbing you or nuking the whole game. I mean, you imagine Dead Man's Hand to the power of 80. That is unbelievable, but in their own kind of weird and distorted way, they think that putting all these things at 9, 10, 11 and bloody 12 makes it okay because it's like, oh, well, people aren't going to be, dying that much. People are going to be better than that. No, I don't think they are. But here's where they think the balance comes into it. This is where they think that, by adding this will kind of put people off from trying to, I don't know, gain achievements or just piss people off and troll. Because I can imagine there's going to be a lot of trolling going on with this. Punishment. Punishment will ultimately negate foul play. It will deduct 10% off the score of the offending player's team the time that the offence has been committed. We are watching. Now, going back to what I said before, I would imagine that if you're going to be there and you think, oh, do you know what, I'm just going to maybe kill myself and get to that 11 streak and moab the whole team, somehow it claims that it's going to know what's going on, it's going to be wise to your game, and it's going to ultimately say, okay, you want to piss around, we're just going to take 10% off your team. So if you're playing TDM and, you want to get up, you're up to 100 points, you're going to suddenly get knocked back down to bloody 90 points. So that's their kind of reasoning. I'm sorry I can't bring you any more on it because these are the only 3 pages I've had. I don't know where the hell I got them from. They're floating around on the bloody interwebs somewhere. So feel free to go and have a mooch around and I'm sure you'll find them. But yeah, just let me know what you think about these war streaks, air quotes. And yeah, apocalypse done.